particular one, but we'll wait and see how they want to kind of go forward. Looks like the Zeri, the Milio, and now the Nico are going to be bringing into the ban phases, but the Vi was left open. And you can see LNG straight away recognizing, hey, we can get a hell of a lot of priority here with Tarzan on this pick, so we're going to give it to him.
Yeah, Maokai, still another champion that's open that typically doesn't make it through the ban phase. And again, when you have something like Jace open, that always could be a route you go for. We saw that in our first series. It didn't pan out for the side of IG, but two very strong picks. Looks like RNG aren't going to end up falling for that one. Still going to, or maybe not. As picks and bans are just, oh, they're back.
They didn't have the names on the bottom. I realized that everything else was fine. It just didn't have the names of the players, so they wanted to give it out. But also noticing here, a little bit more zoomed in. Am I right? It looks bigger.
It does look a little bit different somehow. I'm not sure how, but I don't exactly like it. But instead, not going to go for a Maokai, not going to go for anything like that. Just going to go towards standard mid laners and LNG very fast with responding with that Annie. So I feel like LNG, very standard first three picks so far. Do RNG just match with the Wukong right now? That would be the most telegraphed answer. And oh boy, it is 2023 summer, so of course you answer with the Wukong right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is just how the meta is right now. It could be a little bit unfortunate for sure, but it is how it is. And wait to see now where the teams kind of want to try and take these drafts. And I will say that we are seeing more unique bans, shall we say. The Nico, the Milio, of course, is genuinely a unique ban. And the Zeri, thankfully, being banned takes away the Yuumi. No one's playing that without her, so I'm personally very happy about that particular setup. But it is a little stale because it does feel like it is just tank top, engage mid and jungle, and then scaling bot lane. That's kind of where we're at right now.
You know what? And this is where we just ignore what's going to be picked, and we just ask for things. Hey, LP, can you play oh wait, LP's already playing Aphelios. You know what? Move the Aphelios to top or mid or jungle. I don't care where it goes. Send it somewhere else. Bring us some Draven.
LP Jhin.
Mazella's been begging for the Jhin. And
I mean, the Jhin has had a pretty high win rate of late, hasn't it? In solo queue, at least, I believe. I don't know how that translates.
Neela's been one I've wanted. It is like a 53% win rate in solo queue, but Sheen, sadly, we have an Aphelios AD carry, and they're not going to flex it somewhere else because that would be utter garbage. So we do just get the Gragas coming out in the top side.
Could be a support.
I was going to say we hold out hope. We hold out hope for the flex pick. A lot of supports that would banned.
I wouldn't mind it being an Annie support and a Gragas bot lane support. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be an interesting way to bring in this game. But I don't think it will go that way because generally speaking, teams go for the highest percentage play. And that doesn't sound like the highest percentage play, but it looks like LNG happy to go with the Gnar to go into this Gragas and kind of say, look, we'll beat your sustain with our sustain. And that means the top lane becomes a wet noodle fight. We won't be looking top for a very, very long time. And now LNG, they've got plenty of things to kind of look into. I think the Braum is actually a fantastic pick if they really wanted to go for it because it does just kind of mitigate everything that you want to do here with the Ahri, the Gragas, and the Wukong.
Yeah, Moonlight Vigil, Explosive Cask, everything just going to get blocked and eaten up by Hong on the Braum. Now, because I mean, you were kind of looking at picks that are still there, like Thresh if you want Lantern, but again, into Braum, kind of annoying. You don't really have too much pick potential in that situation where you can just eat the hook with the stand behind me, but not really too many options left with the amount of support bans that have been through. We saw this flashed earlier in the day. It has been quite a while since we've seen Yuumi with Aphelios, but we're gonna get it. LvMao gonna bring out the Yuumi.
I'm mad because I did just say that the Zeri being banned takes away the Yuumi, which made me happy, and now she's back into play, which is unfortunate. But it is going to be locked in there. And I mean, look, you already have so much engage. Having that Enchanter support definitely makes sense in a lot of senses, especially with the Lulu and the Milio banned. But
and going against the Braum, you don't feel too much threat.
Yes. Exactly, but that means bot lane is just kind of a scaling matchup now, so I'm actually curious to see if Hong can move out of this lane. There's not going to be a huge amount of kill threat onto Gala. He'll have the range, he'll have, especially when he gets the hiding quiver first item, or first half item, I should say. It's not really going to feel like for the longest of time. I think you said this on cast yesterday. It does feel like ever since Aphelios was added to the game, he has been meta, regardless of who else has been around. So I mean, he's a very solid carry.
And I remember we've had like different answers coming in and out, right? Like now we're at a point where it's like Jinx and like outranging him. I remember for a while people were trying to bring like mages and AP down there, has like very low MR for a champion in League of Legends. And just, yeah, so many different ways to try, but he's outlasted all of it, which is kind of impressive. And I'll be honest, in isolation, I don't really mind Aphelios. It's fine to watch.
Aphelios makes for
plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think he's like back in the day when Moonlight Vigil would go across the screen. Remember that?
Yes. I remember when Moonlight Vigil used to come out and like it would literally be one of those things where it would just like, if it was Inferno Moonlight Vigil, you're done. That was like 2,000 damage easily onto every single person on the enemy team, and there was just nothing you can do. We have moved away from the Inferno being the big ultimate now. Most people kind of like go for, well, it's still a big ultimate, but it's not the be all and end all, shall we say. A lot of people like to have red and white or green and white before they go into any kind of big team fights. You know what? I think Aphelios is fine. I like, at least they're trying with new things, you know? I always like innovation. I just don't like the same thing over and over. You gotta at least attempt a new thing every now and again, you know?
Yeah, I do now, right? Again, we typically don't see Yuumi paired with the Aphelios anymore. So we're going to see how it does with Scout. Once again, starts off the game maintaining pressure, which just, again, unlocks so many options for Tarzan. For now, they're just going to pull clear towards that bottom side. Ward that Wei had on Raptors just timed out. So not going to spot him out in terms of what he's doing. You're just going to path safely down to where he is Prio once again for when that bottom side scuttle spawns.
Just makes sense. Just makes sense. And Tarzan with the Vi having a lot more point-and-click CC might be able to have a little bit more of an easier time to make things happen. Way back onto the Wukong, having a not so great game in game number 1, but we'll see if he's able to kind of have a bit more of a higher impact here in game number 2. As with the Ahri, should be able to have a much stronger 2v2 in that mid side. So hopefully we'll see him go a little bit more aggressive in this early game. Because again, like we saw in the first game, is that once he didn't have camps to go to for after the first rotation, he kind of got a bit lost within himself and you know, took time to reflect before he really went for something. And now might see him going in for Zika. And I like this play a lot. The Mininar is such a exposed character, and Zika now realizing he's in between a rock and a hard place, and he's just going to give up everything to die, not use his flash because he knows he messed up.
Trying to get the better end of those trades, but look, Tarzan gonna want to go and try and compete for this top side scuttle. Scout has pressure, but hasn't started leaning over just yet.
Looking for it now. Tarzan was able to get it. Wei's looking very low right now. This is actually a bit of a one. Flash in! Breed gets the belly bop down. The charm is great to stop this Scout from moving back in as well. Will they be able to kill off Wei? Yes, they will. Now means double buffs a flash forward. Can they get the stun off onto Scout? No, they can't. The transfer of the buffs is exceptional. Zika, why would you hit that blast cone? And it's 4 for 1. RNG having a much stronger start in this game 1.
I was going to say, from my point of view, it looked like he was the one that hit it. I assumed maybe I saw wrong, and it was Tangyuan, because, yeah, now look at this. Out of nowhere, off of such an immaculate game 1, LNG 4 minutes in, already 1.4k gold down, off of a lot of greed, overzealousness. Tarzan wanting to take that fight, reading the situation a little bit wrong in terms of how quickly Scout and Zika can get there.
Yeah, I mean, Tarzan can't take this fight now. It's 2 long swords and a sheen for Wei, which is a sheen better than what Tarzan's got for himself. And Wei knows it, so Wei's just going to keep the pressure down, put down some wards, make sure he has the priority over this, because look at bot lane, look at mid lane. There's no one coming to help you here, Tarzan.
And, I mean, Wei, no matter how RNG look right now, or the results, Wei's still, right, such a phenomenal player. Showed that in the last split. Even now, as Tarzan goes for this, but Tangyuan's here.
I mean, you got the Brahms. This is definitely a scary position here. Tangyuan gonna get caught up by the Winter's Bite, but getting a little bit over aggressive here. And LNG, they're feeling a bit floundering like right now. They don't really know where to go and what to do. They want to go for fights, but I feel like they're already too far behind as we finally get a replay from this topside fight.
Like, what happened from game 1 to game 2? Tarzan going for this, I understand. Like, you're up, you had Prio in mid, but Scout wraps all the way around, so he doesn't really get here that soon. Zika just coming off the TP again, not as early as it looks like Tarzan hoped. And then it's so easy for RNG to just all in and focus down Scout. Sure, he gets one, but with Tangyuan Sylvan Flash, they followed up. And who hits this? It is Tangyuan. Okay, I was going to say.
Okay, not as bad. Not as bad.
Would not have made any sense at all had it been Zika. So, but still, what happened from game 1 to game 2? What kind of pep talk is Coach Poppy giving?
I mean, whatever happened, it definitely gave RNG a little bit of a...
I figured it out. Poppy also used to be on RNG, right? Double agent? Double agent machine?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's no other explanation. I have to go with this particular answer because there's nothing else to tell me otherwise. So the evidence says yes and no at the same time, so I'm going to go with yes.
Just facts.
That's a terrible way to deduct things. Do not go by that logic. That is a terrible logic to go with. But I mean, look, it's definitely not out and over with for the side of LNG. Much stronger start here for RNG, and I want to see them do stuff with this. You've now been able to kind of bring in the Merc Treads here for the Ahri into that mid lane. Definitely becomes an awful lot harder for them to kind of burst her out in the interim, I should say. And as well as that, the Wukong's going to be far ahead. And if anything we saw from MSI and even the first few weeks of LPL or first few days of LPL, a fed Wukong is to be scared. It's no longer kind of like, oh, you wish those kills went on to someone else. No, a Wukong is terrifying when he gets to 2-3 items.
It's still one of those ones where, again, maybe I'm just putting too much stock in Yuumi, but the longer the game goes on, and again, Yuumi just really does feel like such a difference maker. Even if LNG will outrange, even if LNG do have zone control coming out from things like the Braum and the Meganar as well. But who knows? I mean, LNG definitely won't be down and out. They're going to have a ton of CC. We just hit on the zone control and like peel they have coming out from Hung. But LP and LvMao definitely getting the laning phase they want. But I guess Gala and Hung want the same thing, right? They both opted into handshaking the spot lane 2v2.
Mm-hmm. He's definitely happy to kind of go for that one. Wei now making his presence known on this top side. Zika does not have flash, but he does have an ultimate should he be able to get up into Mega. And you can see Zika really desperately wants to try and get this wave reset, but he knows he's playing weak side. He knows his jungler is all the way bot lane, and he just can't really risk it for the moment.
And look at where LvMao is on the map. So RNG definitely setting up to take this Rift Herald. We'll see if Tarzan can set anything up in bot and find something on the opposite side of the map. Does have camps coming up on top side. Already has the Wolves there and Gromp soon, but you definitely would like to either like find your way into the enemy jungle, get some vision down, and then theoretically dive LP, but that's not going to be the case. LP might actually just walk into Tarzan. I don't know. Oh, he does.
Yeah, I mean, he does. There is going to be a cleanse and a flash available to him. And I mean, honestly, a flash from Tarzan and a flash from LP, I mean, that's still worth it for LNG.
Yeah, and at the same time, right, worth for the side of LNG, but RNG still going to pick up Rift Herald. Your Felio, since he wasn't playing under tower, doesn't get dove. He had already pushed in the wave, which is why he was freely walking through his own jungle to spot out if Tarzan would be there. So in the end, Flash goes down for Flash, but you're also the team that picked up the Rift Herald and didn't really lose anything in terms of CS in bot lane.
Yeah, able to pick it up. I must say Gala picked up a plate as well, so that's kind of nice for him to have. Tangyuan, gotta be careful. Yes, the Timbers is down, but his AoE will still hurt you, especially if you're taking a stun to the face just like that again. So definitely curious to see what we kind of go for here. See Gala using his ultimate to make sure that there's no freeze in this bot side. Tangyuan does get away as quick as he possibly can, but now resets coming in from the LNG bot lane. Dragon went over to RNG alongside that Rift Herald like you mentioned earlier. So it's still RNG favored for the moment. They've only got about 1,000 gold lead, so we'll see what they're able to kind of work with this. Again, it's not about the lead, it's about how you use it that's important.
I think especially looking at how RNG is going to create an opportunity to use this Rift Herald, right? Because a lot of the plays they found so far have been mishaps around the top side for LNG, but they haven't actually taken a plate anywhere. And usually, you know, you're going to kind of play around the lane that's already taken some plates, is winning a little bit, get that turret down earlier, funnel more gold onto your strongest member, and then break open the map that way. But without doing that, it's like, okay, do they go for the what I'd say is the easiest option, which is, once again, just looking top, gank Gnar, and then dropping Herald there, but then you're putting gold onto your Gragas, which really doesn't mean all too much. Or do they actually actively set up an opportunity to gank bot? Because that's something we haven't really seen RNG try to do, which is like actively transfer pressure from lane to lane or jungle to lane, right? It's been, hey, Zika's overextended, let's gank top. Or LNG running into them in topside river, which, I don't know, do RNG have mind control powers? They might.
I mean, maybe. You know, it depends on who you ask, I suppose, but good sidestep of the charm there by Scout does mean that the spell book Ignite gets used here onto him as a little bit of a reprieve, shall we say. Bot lane pushed all the way in, as we do see Gala kind of finishing up his cull, getting himself a little bit more pressure now here as Zika. I have to be careful. Yeah, I was going to say, he'll take a hell of a lot of damage here. Half health from one combo from Breed is disgusting.
Yeah, that is huge. Oh, engage.
Here we go. They're going to go and try and just burn down LP. He does have the cleanse available, going to use it, but cannot get away. TP coming in. That's going to be the Gnar. Or no, never mind. It's going to be the Scout coming in. And now they're going to try and get him one more auto attack. Oh, they couldn't get the concussive blows down. But a great response here from LNG. They knew they had the advantage. They knew they had the ward coverage, and they get themselves 2 kills.
And LNG still being the first ones to make this play from like mid-jungle down to bot. It was RNG who were hoping to make that play. Look at Rift Herald. It's almost, I mean, it's 3/4 of the way timed out. And now LNG on top of this is going to get to pick up a dragon.
I mean, yes, you are getting topside pressure. Breed will pick up a plate, but this is just a fantastic move here from the side of LNG. And again, they centered themselves. They brought themselves back into this. And this is why I was saying that Tarzan's flash in favor of Aphelios's is always going to be better for Tarzan.
Yeah, every single time. We're going to see here Tarzan just waiting in the wings. Walks a bit too far forward, and I mean, what can you do, right? Tarzan was there right into the chompers and then just funnel everything onto him. And with Scout's TP coming in, nothing Tangyuan can do. I think it is best just to get the hell out of Dodge and lose as few friends as you can. But hey, at least Wade did find an opportunity to drop this Herald in bot lane.
To get the drop on the Herald, so picks himself a couple of 100 gold. Not too bad for him. As you see now moving forward again. This is a Gala with a Stormrazor, and again, this is the difference between the Jinx of LP in game number 1 and the Jinx of Gala in game number 2. Kraken Slayer for LP game 1, now the Stormrazor here for Jinx and Gala. It just feels like the Stormrazor is just such a powerful item that you just cannot let go in this early stages, especially with that extra movement speed. Even just to get you out, you're an immobile AD carry, you have to go for it, and yeah, Zika, good flash, because if you get hit by that, you probably die.
Like, this is absolutely insane what Breathe is doing in this 1v1, completely dominating this matchup the whole time. I guess he did get jungle help earlier on, which did kind of push it into his favor. But Breathe, the top laner who's able to keep up and maintain, even still just putting the threat onto Zika. But look at the minimap. Scout and Tarzan are both trying to make their way over.
There are wards here, though, so they know that the Tarzan is there. We'll see Breathe panic and pop his Everfrost, but should be just fine. No real reason to use his flash to get out of that one there.
I was so confused. I'm like, 1, why does Zika have an Everfrost on Narn? 2, how is it shooting like 10 feet away from where he is?
Well, Gala going to use his cleanse and his chompers to make sure Wei can't get on top of him. Now Hong's kind of separated away from his team as they look to try and just kind of burn onto him. And yeah, I think
Pour
Hong
one out for Hong in chat, people. Pour one out. He's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. He's dead. Got to get the Spirit Rush out of Tangyuan, but not really much else you can gain from that because they knew that everyone rotated tops. They knew they'd go for it. But now looks like LNG want to try and get some revenge and kind of go for this topside gank again.
Okay, he has flash, though, and he has explosive cast. They got to be careful. They might end up under his turret if they misplay this.
They might, but they're going to try and put themselves forward, and now can't really get a position to get out of this one here. You still have flash on Breed, but can he get out of it? That is the question. It's going to be the Mega Gnar hit and a kill given over to Tarzan. So good response here from LNG to make sure that they are making cross-map play when their bot side gets caught out.
Kind of surprised that he didn't try to, like, wait for the CC to come through, flash E towards his turret, and see if he can knock someone in. But maybe it would be way too risky for a play that, like, 70% wouldn't work out. So holds on to the flash, has that for the next player, next fight, or, you know, a timing if he has to look for, like, a flash E, flash onto Gala. We might have a fight soon.
We might indeed. There's a charm, but it's an unbreakable, and it's a Braum. So now they can maybe go for another fight here. Look to try and maybe push this one a little bit more in favor of LNG. The TP coming in from Scout. They know where he is, so they know he's going to be on this backside. They know he's isolated, so that's why they're kind of corralling back in towards him.
Oh, no, they're going to get him.
Oh, no! They're going to be able to try and catch out Tangyuan, but he flashes. Now LNG kind of backing themselves away, but LNG haven't really lost a lot from this. They've just kind of like dealt with the fight, and now Breed kind of goes in with the belly bop. Doesn't have much else to kind of offer, but a kill there onto the Vi. Means they should be able to pick up this Rift Herald as well. It's so scrappy right now, Lyric, as both teams vie for control.
And just, again, time and time again, small oversteps being the things that gets LNG punished and keeps building up small advantages. Luckily for LNG, again, they aren't falling too far behind in terms of gold, definitely still in striking distance. But now another Rift Herald to break open this map even more. Dragon going to be up in a minute. Could also be a potential play to use this to enable you getting yourselves what would be second Dragon for yourself. So RNG right now definitely having all the options. Even getting bot wave pushed in, which should be nice. Now come back up on the map. Azari or Wukong pats down, you start getting some vision down in that bot side river.
Picking up as much gold onto Gala as they possibly can, as you said, because RNG do have pushed in kind of multiple lanes. 2,500 gold lead or somewhere around there, as they can now look to try and maybe make this play up top side. Breed recognizes this and says, yep, I'm going to back away. And Tarzan has not had as big of an impact as he had in game number 1, but definitely looking to try and be a little bit more kind of active. You can see he's itching to kind of go now. With that Black Cleaver finish, he knows he has a bit of a power to kind of work with here.
I feel like he's had a similar impact, just kind of sadly for RNG in this game with some of the fights he's tried to look for. But you know what? Tarzan's one of the GOATs, so he gets a pass. We were just talking about this last game, right?
Fair.
Compressed schedule, more series, more opportunities for top teams to lose games that they shouldn't. As I was wondering if we get to see a potential dive, but with no wave and now no mega, I wonder if they even try to wait out for the next wave. Doesn't even look like it. And now Herald in mid, Dragon still up. You have bots in control. RNG can take everything.
I mean, RNG will get the second push here. Don't know if they'll get the second tower, but definitely a lot of favorable trades going in favor of RNG. Definitely looking a lot stronger, a lot more cohesive in this game number 2 comparatively to game number 1. They're really trying to make this happen on top side. Hong and Tarzan have not left. They just cleared out the vision. They want to try kill off Breed, but Breed's got TP and he's fine.
Breathe escapes. You know what would be the best thing ever is if Hunk canceled his recall and they're like, okay, he's TPing in, bring everyone back up here. And they still went for it. I'm a little bit disappointed. You know what? They didn't have enough resolve. We're going to say that's the reason the play didn't work.
But Hung went through the whole resolve tree. What are you talking about? His entire main keystones are resolve tree. Come on.
That's true.
Stick with us. Stick with us.
It's still not enough. But now we focus on where RNG will look next, because as a team in the league, right, they're pretty much the one that holds all the cards right now. Breed's just going to keep maintaining pressure in sides, which is kind of crazy to think about for so long in this Gragas-Gnar matchup. Zika now does have Triforce, so maybe that could be a difference maker.
Quite possibly. Dragon was taken, so I'm not quite sure what LNG are hoping to have RNG do around this river pit, but Breed now making his way down towards this mid lane, looking maybe for a flash belly bop. Onto Gala would be perfect, but you gotta feel like for LNG, they know he's not top lane. You give this up. Yeah, smart play from them. They know that they don't really have the pressure, and now Scout might need to get himself an exit stage left pretty damn soon. He's tanking the turret. He should be able to pick it up and then get his recall off.
Yeah, RNG.
Go for a teleport.
Breathe.
I mean, Breed is in a bit of trouble here. We are going to see Zika lose his mega and get ulted away. There's another rocket going flying by, and Breed kind of loses nothing. They gain a little bit of pressure on that top side, but that's about it. Now Tarzan looking for a flash in. They know he's squishy. He goes golden, but why? You just broke your stopwatch. Now you're going to die. Way now up on this top side, a little bit isolated. Going to use the Cyclone as they got the RETPing in. Scout trying to see if he can get away from this one here, but he's isolated and alone and a little bit afraid. They'll get the tower. They trade back 1 for 1, but LNG now have the pressure in mids. Maybe they're going to push for the turret, but with the Yuumi and the Aphelios rotating over, it's not going to lead out to anything else.
Siashin, that's why he uses stopwatch, because Zanya's now picked up, but Tangyuan, he's going to die.
He hasn't got Spirit Rush. He does have Cleanse, and he does have Flash. There's one, there's the other, and he still goes down, loses both summoners, but really nicely done there by LNG. That's the kind of play they've been looking for, honestly, for the last, like, 5-6 minutes.
Yeah, they've needed anything. Kind of checking back in on gold. It's actually still amazing that LNG have kept so well in striking distance.
So close.
You know, they're only 1 turret behind, only 1 kill behind, so they actually aren't falling all that far behind. As we're going to see here how Breathe went down. They've committed so much time to taking down this fat drunk man. Buys time with the stopwatch, which does give enough time for a way to get in here. Scout to still be overexposed to allow the kill to come through once the Cyclone comes out. Because, yeah, the whole of RNG is trying to make their way over here, which is also what opened up for LNG to get that push in mid. So, you know, it was a bit of a trade-off, but as RNG, you'll take that trade-back kill anytime.
You already have the Rabadon's finished up for Scout here. You can imagine he's not too far away from that particular completion. And like you said, the Zanya's finished up for Breed. That's why he was so liberal with his stopwatch to try and delay 4 times. So I take it back. I wasn't familiar with your game, Breed, and you know I'm sorry for that. But
you better give him an apology.
But we come back into the game. It's fairly even. A couple of 100 gold in favor of RNG. 2 dragons to 1 in their favor. So no one's really going to be getting a soul anytime soon, really. 6.5 minutes at the best, or maybe even 7 minutes, really, by the time you actually take it. And Zika is going to start taking turrets very quickly with this Triforce build.
Already, you know, sitting on some posts as well.
I mean,
Tarzan!
They're going to jump straight in on top of LP, but they can't burn him down just yet. They will kill off Way. That's a TP coming in from Breed. They've killed off the Aphelios. They'll get the cat as well. Not quite getting it just yet, but one more. No! Not quite getting the auto, the smite, and now the auto will kill him off. Hong does get the CC down with the concussive blows. Even pops up the Everfrost, or excuse me, the Unbreakable to kill off, but a double kill coming straight in for the Ari means it's a bit of a drive-by. Gets 2 kills and gets the hell out, but it's still LNG favored 4 for 2.
I was so scared that exhaust would be the difference maker. That's why it took Gala so long to finish off LP. Exhausted for a majority of those first few autos coming out, but the rest of the cavalry comes through. And LNG now, it has been so dicey. We have been so confused at the flip between Game 1 and Game 2. But now LNG are here to play. They're online. Deathcap finished up for Scout. Hullbreaker finished up for Zika. Wants to be a big menace in the side lane. And now, again, really finding some power. We're going to see here Tarzan just feeling so comfortable pulling the trigger because they have 4 members strong. They see the Ari in top side, and they get the CC chain onto the Aphelios. Starts with Wei, who was also caught in the crossfire going down. And then look, exhaust on Gala, not able to get off as much damage as he would hope. And then that last rocket, just not enough in the end, so Tarzan has to commit himself. Gala gets low, but in the end, the Braum shield and some help make sure that they finish off more kills.
Going back into live though, Lyric. We can see now RNG trying to burn away this dragon to put themselves on the soul, but they can't do it! LNG get the rocket out and they get the steal. They get everything they want and a little bit more, but now LP getting jumped on straight away by Tarzan, who's going to skadoodle himself all the way out, you would imagine. But now Wade coming in on the backside. They've recognized that Tarzan is a little bit overextended. And LNG get the dragon. They only cost them 1. That's fine.
LNG going to be incredibly happy about this. Even get the faster pivot to mid to make sure they get control over this wave. We're going to see if RNG are going to be able to try to force or find anything here. No Cyclone means you don't have the same ease of engage.
Wade does get a little bit of a heal coming out there from LvMao, and a flash from Scout back over the wall as they know that Baron's a little bit of a problem here. 15 seconds till Tarzan comes back. These health bars are getting lower and lower. The poke is very much matters, and that's where the Yuumi comes in and starts to really shine in these fights.
Okay, Sheen, I got this. And then they go RNG hitting the Baron going down not as fast as we think. Okay, Gala, we see what you're doing, throwing out abilities. What's going on? A Sheen take over. Big Gnar!
Zika! Massive Gnar ultimate into the wall, and that's going to be 2 kills, 3, 4, probably even 5. Wei has nowhere to go but back to his own lane and to the safety of his gray screen teammates, because that was huge from Zika.
Where did they all go? Zika with the ult, but then the damage to follow up was massive coming out from LNG. Just, Barons once again getting the better as Tarzan gonna look for Wei.
I mean, they'll get him if they can keep pushing for this, but the ultimate comes out, almost takes him out. Maybe a little bit more damage there, but there's 2 turrets, 3 turrets. The gold is swung from dead even to probably about 7,000 once all these turrets are dead and gone. And this is the LNG from game number 1 coming back to life in game number 2.
That was huge, yeah. It's kind of showing 2 different skill sets, right? In game 1, we got to see their clean macro from ahead. This game, it's their team fighting from behind. Zika running forward. No one playing bodyguard, really, huge. And just huge 4 members. We see the follow-up come through with Hung instantly jumping in and Gala. 1 kill resets come through and get excited. I know you don't have explosive cast. Oh, well, Zika's dead.
He is.
Huh.
That's fine.
I know in that moment, Breathe didn't have explosive cast, but I still think probably would have wanted to play a bit farther forward if you're going to look for that play on Baron.
I mean, yeah. It just feels like he had to be the guy to sacrifice himself into the Gnar. And once he sees the Gnar hop come in, he kind of has to go, well, I got a belly bop now and hope and pray I can survive.
Exactly. Yeah, kind of hope for the best there. Maybe Everfrost can do a little bit more, but we're going to see here how he does go down. Just, I mean, committing multiple members, but actually got a good fair bit of damage.
Nearly killed Wei. Nearly killed Wei, so Definitely not as egregious as we come back into live. 6,000 is the lead now in the gold. 2 dragons apiece. RNG, they had a lot of things going for them. We talked about the scaling. They are very much at the scaling, but Gala on Jinx, Gala on anything when it comes to those clutch moments really is such a terrifying prospect. And again, this is something that we kind of talked about for Gala, having those clutch factors as an AD carry. But Zika with a fantastic ultimate to set that up. Scout having this Annie, Tarzan going in to just kind of catch out LP. Like, there are multiple players doing multiple kind of setups to make sure that they're in a position to enable him.
And now, I mean, 6K gold up. Scout going to maintain pressure in this top side, but RNG don't care. They're just going to look for the specifics behind. I don't think a flank from a mini Gnar is all that threatening, but RNG still will show some respect.
They don't know exactly where the Annie is. I think that was their biggest problem. They were like, wait a minute, we don't know where this very, very scary little girl has gone, so we're going to back ourselves away, make sure that we're not feeling too comfortable with pushing in that way, because again, they're playing from behind. It's now a 3-item Jinx with Rapid Fire Cannon. You got a stopwatch available for the Vi and for the Jinx as well. Locket makes it so much harder to burn someone down, and Zika just finished off his Black Cleaver, so even someone like tankier than the rest of his team is going to be shredded so quickly with that armor shred coming in that stacks so quickly.
It's going to be doing a lot. Well, you remember Hullbreaker was another item that kind of got some changes coming into this patch as well. Price got increased, got a bit more damage, and it also got some bonus movement speed now, which I think is really nice for a split pushing item to be able to try and get the hell out of dodge if you stop seeing the enemy showing in lanes elsewhere. So he's just going to continue to be an annoyance. They've now gotten tons of vision control down towards that bot side to give him more freedom and also to set up for the dragon that's coming up in 15 seconds.
Will only be soul point for either of these sides. Again, no one really near the soul for at least another 5 minutes or 6 or so. Way kind of isolated here. They can just kind of fully commit to him if they know they can get in with the Annie. That's kind of what they're looking to try and do. They now know that the dummy is down, so they can go full
Scout's
commit onto this.
now, though.
Scout is surrounding them. There's going to be a flash built into Way now. As we can see Scout coming in, and he finds himself a beautiful ultimate. The rocket will be hit in onto the decoy breed, trying to TP in to make sure he has a bit of movement to get into this, but there's a big shutdown. There's the Aphelios trying to make this one work. He didn't have the Jinx in position, and the Aphelios can start to do Aphelios things. This is huge. It's going to do, and coming down to these AD carries. Can this Aphelios do it? There's going to be a bit of CC.
Tarzan.
They don't get the Glacial Fisher. There's a triple kill coming in there for LP. Can he get a little bit more? He will be able to push his team even further. The exhaust crippling Gala, and now as he tries to just get one reset, that's all he needs, but he will not get it. I don't know if they can end, but they can certainly take a hell of a lot of the base.
I mean, huge fight coming out from RNG. Members of LNG kind of funneling one by one, but like you're saying, RNG now can really do some damage to the space.
15 seconds.
I don't think they should be able to end. I mean, you have Scout and Tarzan coming up. If they do, though,
they're going for it. They're going for it. 5 seconds till Scout's up and available. Nexus turret number 1 going to be going down. There's a good little barrel to stop the movement speed, but they're taking too much damage from these towers. They even TP'd the Ahri in, but it's just a little bit too far of a stretch. Now LNG will have a little bit more of a run of the map, and what could have been an exceptional play from RNG to get themselves back in the front of the tempo, they kind of fumbled the landing just a little bit, but still fantastic work from them.
Exactly, right? They still come out ahead. They got all the kills. It's great, but definitely going to be behind in terms of getting onto the map and getting that dragon. We see here wanting to catch out Way. They don't have the damage here with Scout being so far behind, even the Jinx. And I feel like that's the difference maker. You're like, okay, he can't take down the Annie, but the Aphelios is already here, already able to dish out damage. Yuumi throwing out the ult so they can't run forward, and then big bolty man Moonlight Vigil followed up by the cast from Breathe. And again, Gala has finally just started autoing, Breathe immediately Zanya's, and it's like, okay, you weren't just kind of testing DPS versus DPS. It was LP able to free hit that whole time, and Gala just zoned away. So great job by, you know, the Aphelios, by the Gragas to make all of this work. And then Way with the follow-up.
Yeah, I mean, like, having those extra bits of CC was absolutely massive. 5-for-1 trade at the end of it all, but we go straight back to live. Breathe is on a flank, doesn't have flash. A lot of summoners not available. Pretty much everything except for the Ahri having those extra summoner spellbooks available to them. But top lane's going to be pushing in favor now of RNG, and you can see double super minions stacked into that. Means that this Baron defense becomes a little bit harder, and they can shred this very quickly.
And now more items coming out too. Way a full item up over Tarzan, having that Guardian Angel online, so if he does look for an engage and go down, will get that second chance to keep the fight going. And you can tell right now, RNG feel comfortable, they feel confident, they're ready to scrap. Gonna focus on getting control over top side vision. They already have some nice wards, but LNG at least do have a defensive vision line, so no RNG haven't pushed too far forward, but here's the Baron.
Yeah, they're going to go too early with the rockets. They're not going to be able to get the steal from that. You can see the charm is good to try and distract them, and there is the secure. They flash in, they get Breed. There's 1 for nothing for the moment. You're in Mininar form here for Zika as he tries to burn down some of Aphelios' health bar. They need to get the resets on the Jinx, and they do exactly that. The Aphelios is dead. The President has fallen, and now the Way shall go down as well. They do not have a teleport to go in for the end. Triple kill coming in from Scout. They are starting to lose this turret. They should be able to get the resets in time. They won't lose the game just yet.
Yeah, this is going to be a close one. RNG going to consistently have this pressure from the base being open. They're going to try and push through mid right now. Scout having Tangyuan. I don't think they should be able to, right? We have less than 20 seconds on Breed, LP.
I don't know, man. They're looking for something here because I know they sent Scout back because he has the TP. I'm getting a bit excited maybe because they don't know where the Ari is. But yeah, don't know. This match is getting crazy.
I mean, this match has definitely been crazy. I mean, this match has been crazy since the beginning of this game, where, again, the script just flipped so drastically. We're going to see here, Scout gets a huge ultimate, right? Not only bursts out Breathe, but gets some good damage on LP. Sure, the healing comes through to be able to get him huge, but I love how Tarzan knows he has to full send it, and they have to burst out this Aphelios. Gala, using that Gale Force, gets a bit closer in range, able to get excited, and then just wait for Way to come back up from the GA, and they finish it off. Honestly, maybe the amount of engage in the Jinx will just outdo the Yuumi. If they can be that decisive, pull the trigger, it's like, what can LP do?
LP without the extra summoners is just so exposed. I mean, I was going to say Scout did so much, but also the big thing that we kind of passively didn't get to talk about is the fact that Scout getting those 3 kills brings him back up to 15 stacks. He was down onto 4, so like it's a huge swing of momentum back into that item, which means that he's on full build and can still get more AP. This is a big moment, and I'm just noticing now Gala has got a stopwatch. This next fight could be it.
Scout is just so far ahead of anyone else on the map, too, in terms of items. He is huge right now. I mean, we saw the damage numbers, right? Doing by far the most in that last fight. Looking towards Dragon. Ooh. All Summoner. I wonder if Scout's Flash will be up by then. Other than that, Summoner's up across the board if a fight did break out right now.
It's scary. It's a full AP Gragas who almost has a Banshees. That Banshees could be the difference. You saw how quickly he burns down once he gets caught by the Ani. He has absolutely, basically 0 magic resistance when it comes to the true damage that will be pulling out. They have Zika with a TP able to put in. They know that there's a ward just a little bit off to the side here. That could be key. You get that TP down. Breed hasn't gone towards it just yet. They're too worried about the rest of the map, and unfortunately they do lose that ward by passive because the Braum had to drop down a little bit more around their own vision.
Speaking of the Braum, Hung having Anathemas in pocket, ready to go for someone like LP in a fight. Even you hit on the stopwatch coming out for Gala. I think Tarzan's been sitting on one for quite a while now, just holding on to it. So it feels like definitely going into the next fight, LNG have a lot of tools to work with. Aww.
He sold it and picked up a Last Whisper. Just as you said it, I just realized it. I was like, wait a minute. Where's it gone? He didn't use it yet. So, I mean, he's obviously confident in his cleanse and his flash to keep him alive.
I mean, he will have a Braum just sitting right in front of him the whole time.
Oh, here we go. Immediately, the Zhonya has to be used. Tarzan has to flash away because those are a hell of a lot of shock rooms. I mean, Breed, I don't think wins against this 1v1 into Zika. Yeah, you can see him now kind of walking away from this. They've respawned the inhibitor.
Machine and Dragon's coming up. Now no Moonlight Vigil, no explosive cast. If LNG can get out of base with their health bars, they should feel much better about going into a 5v5.
I mean, Breed can't defend this. Breed needs help, but you can see it on the minimap. It's finally coming, but it might be too little too late. They've lost the inhibitor turret, and now Breed's in a little bit of a 2v1. Zika looking to try and do this out. He dodges absolutely everything, but he still goes down to the charm. And while that's all happening, we can go back towards the Jinx because she's now trying to get excited, and they've caught away the jungler. That could be huge. Tangyuan is on the backside, though. He's looking for a flank. They're looking to try to jump onto LP. 2 auto attacks, and he's already losing a third of his HP. Charm comes out over the side. It's also very, very close, and this Yuumi can't heal up as much as you possibly want. They've got Breed on the backside, though. He's completely sidestepped their vision.
Explosive cast looks like it's back and ready to go, too. They need to be careful. I mean, Breed could make the master play right here.
could. They're going to try and put down more damage on the LP. Maybe commit onto him. One more zap would have been good, but he's got the honey fruit to keep him up and alive. Now Breeze realizes that he's a little bit over the side. Gala gets away with a cleanse. LP gets jumped on by Scout, who goes golden straight away. Breeze trying to stay alive as well. The Tibbers will go down, but Gala's the one to get excited. LP tries to come back for the hero play and immediately is punished. RNG, they had an opportunity, but now everyone will be going down. They cannot survive this onslaught, and LNG will look for the end.
Yeah, they're just going to look to push through. Way is up, but that shouldn't be enough. 40-second death timers. LNG can just barrel through the bases 5.
There's nothing you can do, Way, and you will be jumped on. You've got no decoy. You've got no way to go. You're going to go into a brief respite, Paul Kindred, as you get your last wishes out, because you are going to be going straight back to the gray screen. And that is LNG taking a 2-0 decisive game 1, but a hell of a game 2.
How did this happen? Scout with a huge game at the end of the day after LNG's early game. Again, just complete opposite of what we saw in the first game, which was honestly kind of like a League of Legends masterclass coming out from LNG. But this was also kind of a masterclass in like keeping your cool, keeping your mental good, and just like, you know, showing the mechanisms to come back. And I know games like this will always be judged harshly, as they should, right? It was a very messy game from LNG. But one thing I'll say, thinking back to my experience when I was on a team, right, is that I think it's a lot harder to like learn how to come back in a loss, just because usually in scrims it's not what you're focusing on, right? You're focusing on like, oh, what things went wrong and like how could we do them better. You don't necessarily think about like, okay, we are in a bad position and how do we come back from it. So I do always find the skill to come back quite impressive, even if it does depend on the enemy messing up quite